When Joe Montana, of all people, talk about the 49ers quarterback situation, you have to pay attention. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shifty's 49ers Talk. It's your boy Shifty. This one goes out to 49er fans, near, far, NFL fans, sports fans. You are all welcome here. Tonight, we are talking about the interview that Joe Montana did with the Ringer's Kevin Clark and his comments on the 49ers quarterback situation. Let's show the clip and then we will get into it.
Would you fix the 49ers? They only need a little bit. Trey Lance is coming in. How do you view that situation?
I think they keep Jimmy until you find somebody else. I don't think Trey's ready to play yet.
Okay.
As myself, and after talking to some of the players, it's one of those things that, you know, if you can keep Jimmy healthy, he plays well enough to get you here.
Whoa, pro Jimmy. Joe, you're pro Jimmy.
I think for now, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, well, that clip is interesting to say the least. Now, before I get into my thoughts on it, I do want to preface by saying that I know that Joe Montana knows more about quarterbacking, more about being in the NFL, more about the game that I ever will know. So I'm not going to act like I know more than him, but I am going to give my genuine thoughts on the quarterback situation and why ultimately I do believe that Joe Montana is wrong in his assessment. So, number one, I do also want to say that I think that, look, it's the week before the Super Bowl. Joe Montana is probably doing tens of interviews, maybe even 100 interviews with a bunch of different people, and I think he's coming at this from a very casual standpoint. Like, my guess is that, you know, Montana hasn't bothered to look into like the 49ers cap situation or the draft ramifications or anything like that. I think he's just being asked a question very casually in an interview, and he just answers very honestly. When you look at it, I mean, when you look at his answer, what he's essentially saying, with how I break it down, is that he believes right this second that Jimmy Garoppolo with this team is a better quarterback than Trey Lance. And I think that's actually a pretty reasonable thing to say. Look, Garoppolo's been with the team. He was acquired at middle of 2017, so he's been with the team for a number of years, knows the offense incredibly well. And Jimmy Garoppolo does have some positive traits to his game, like the quick release, solid decision-making. He can be very clutch. You know, there's a bunch of factors that go into what makes Garoppolo and what's helped us get to a Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game. With that being said, I think that we basically are almost left with no decision but to move on for a number of reasons. First of all, I want to say Trey Lance. I could not be more excited for a quarterback than Trey Lance. Like, he played 2.5 games this season, but man, he looked really good for a rookie. Let's keep in mind, this guy is a rookie who didn't even play football in 2020. He played one game in 2020. So for him to do what he was able to do, like, we were real close in that Cardinals game early in the season. Then we beat the Texans. Yeah, the Texans are not a good team, but the second half, Trey Lance was making crazy plays, and we were just very much scratching the surface. So his potential is through the roof. We know what he can do with his arm. He's got a cannon of an arm. Very accurate, too. Not only that, but of course we know he can make plays with his legs, but one of my favorite things that I've seen in what little he's played is that Trey, like, he wants to throw it. He's not the kind of quarterback who gets scared and is like, oh, I got to run. You can see there were so many plays in those games where he was like, yeah, he kind of had to work his way around the pocket. And of course, look, he'll get better at that and he'll improve at that. But he was running around, but he wasn't just looking to run and pick up a couple yards. Like, he was running but to look to pass. And he did that a number of times and did it well. So there's so many different ways that we can attack defenses with Trey Lance. And I think, give him an offseason with all the first team reps and a bunch more playing time in practice and like preseason with the number one guys. And I think, although there's going to be bumps in the road, but I think Trey's future is really, really bright. A couple of other reasons why I would disagree with Joe Montana in saying bring back Jimmy Garoppolo is look at the cap ramifications. Garoppolo is going to account for $25 million against the cap, and we are up against it with regards to the cap. So when we want to bring back guys like Laken Tomlinson, we want to bring back DJ Jones, Arden Key. For me, I want to bring back K'Wan Williams. In order to bring back all four of those guys, that's probably going to cost in the $25-ish million range. So it's basically you move on from Garoppolo. You probably get a second or third round pick, which you get that draft compensation. So that's another player too who's going to be in the top 50 to 100 picks. Plus, you get to bring back 4 key guys, 3 on defense, 1 on the offensive line. I mean, I think to me it's a no-brainer, especially when you factor in Trey's talent. Now, also, we have to factor in something too, which hasn't really been said, or I haven't heard it say that much, is Garoppolo has been in the 49ers locker room, and I love Jimmy G. Got his signed card, I got the jersey, and I wanted him to succeed so bad, not only as a Garoppolo fan, but more so as a 49er fan. But he's been in the locker room for years, and the 49ers and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan still felt compelled that they needed to give up and essentially spend 3 first-round picks on a quarterback. They felt the need to do that. And look, we can all talk all day long, and Jimmy is a great leader, and the guys love to play for him and all that. But there's a reason why Lynch and Shanahan made that move. And the reason is that, Jimmy is good, but let's talk about very quickly, and I don't want to sidetrack, but what Deebo Samuel said in his interviews. He said that, look, they basically forced us to stop the run, and we couldn't beat them with the pass in the NFC Championship game. If that's not somewhat of an indictment of Garoppolo, then I don't know what is. Now, I don't think Deebo is necessarily calling out Jimmy by saying that at all. I think he's saying that, look, our strength is in our run game, and we can, do play action passes, and our passing game kind of builds off of what the run game does. But if we can have an offense with Trey where there's a lot more big explosive plays in the pass game that are not necessarily a short pass that Kittle or Deebo or Ayuk turn into a big play, but like we saw in the Texans game when Trey Lance hit Deebo Samuel for that touchdown. The arm that Trey showed in that play was insane. He threw the ball 40, 50 yards, but the ball didn't even leave the television screen. Normally when you see a pass that far, the ball kind of goes up and there's crazy arc on it. But when Trey, it was like a bullet, but 40 yards and bam, touchdown. So those are the kind of plays that we saw very few and far between with Garoppolo, which I think will be there a lot more with Trey Lance. But yeah, to sum it up, look, I want to say that I respect Joe Montana. Nothing but respect and love for Jimmy Garoppolo, but it is time to move on to Trey Lance to see what we have in him. His potential is through the roof, especially with the offensive coaching he's going to get from Kyle Shanahan and now Anthony Lynn as well. Not only that, you look at the draft capital that we can get in return for Garoppolo and the cap ramifications, and to me, it's a no-brainer. You got to move on and then bring in a vet quarterback as a backup. So those are my thoughts on this whole situation, guys. Let me know what you think about Joe Montana's comments, what you think about my opinions on the matter. And at this point, guys, I'm going to say 2 things, and you know what they're going to be. The butt counts, and I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side.